Good morning, backyard kids. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Christmas season. Can you believe that Christmas Day is in only 2 weeks from today? There's been so many fun things to do and to see and to experience. All of the lights, all of the songs, all of the fun activities like our movie night we just had. And most importantly, to some people, of course, it's something we get very excited about, is the presents. But I hope that when you think about presents, when you see these presents that you're giving or getting, that you'll remember the most wonderful present that's ever been given. And that's the gift of Jesus that God gave us all those many years ago. So we're going to back up now. We talked about the prophecy that Isaiah brought to the people from God, that he would be sending a Messiah in the form of a baby. And then we said that years and years and years, hundreds and hundreds of years went by and nothing happened until one day there was a man named Zachariah who was a priest, and he was descended from a long line of priests, and he was married to a wonderful woman named Elizabeth. And though they had hoped and prayed for children all the years that they had been married, it had never happened for them. And now they were both quite old. But on this day, Zechariah's group of priests was in their time of serving at the temple, and he was chosen to go in and to burn incense at the altar for God. So while he was in there by himself, the angel came to him and told him wonderful news that he and Elizabeth would finally have their very own child. But it wouldn't be just any child. This would be a very special child that would grow up and to be someone who would go ahead of the Messiah and bring the good news of him to all of the people, that he would bless the world and he would be someone very, very special. And furthermore, the angel told him that this baby would be a boy and that his name should be John. This would be highly unusual because usually people named their children after themselves or someone else in their family. But he told them specifically his name would be John. And then Zechariah asked a question. He said, "But we're so old. How can I believe that this would happen?" And the angel didn't like that very much. And he said, "You will see it'll happen like I said. But in the meantime, you will be silent because you didn't believe." And sure enough, Zechariah couldn't speak. And so he went home and he shared this news with his wife. I'm guessing he wrote a bunch of notes during this period of time. And she was overjoyed. And even more so when she found that these things came true. So, not too far away from there, an angel visited someone else very special. This time, he came to see a young woman named Mary. She was very young and she was engaged to be married, and he told her that she had been chosen by God to be the earthly mother of the Messiah, that she would become pregnant, that she would give birth to this child, a baby boy, and that she should name him Jesus, which means God with Emmanuel, or God with us. And Mary said, "I don't know why I've been chosen, but let this be your will and I'll do whatever I need to do." And then the angel shared with her another piece of exciting news, that her cousin Elizabeth, even though she was quite old, was expecting her first child, and that this child would be named John and would come before the Messiah. So Mary went to visit her cousin. By this time, Elizabeth was about 6 months pregnant, and when Mary walked in and called her name, the Bible tells us that the baby John leapt in her stomach, that he recognized the voice of the mother of God, of Jesus. And Mary stayed and visited with Elizabeth for about 3 months, and then she went back to her own home. Not long after that, it was time for the baby John to be born. And sure enough, after he was born, Elizabeth and Zechariah were so thrilled, and all of the family gathered around to see this miracle baby, even though they didn't know then yet what he would be. And they asked, what's his name going to be? Expecting that he would maybe be named again, like I said, after Zechariah or someone else in the family, or that they had chosen some name with lots of meaning for this child. And instead, Elizabeth said, his name is John. Well, nobody could believe this. And so they looked at Zechariah thinking, surely he's got something to say about this, even though he can't talk. But Zechariah nodded, and he found something to write with, and he wrote, his name is John. And when he showed that to them, he was then able to speak, because now he truly, fully believed. Guys, I hope that you see the parallels here in these two stories. Elizabeth was very old. Zechariah was very old when God gave them their son, the baby John. Mary was very young, and I'm sure she felt extremely unprepared. She wasn't even married to her husband yet. Who knew what was going to happen? But God took both of these situations, and He made the impossible happen. Because, guys, I hope you understand this bottom line this week. Nothing is impossible for God.